Hello, thank you for joining us on our webinar regarding the Violence Against Women's Act, the journey, I should say, of the Violence Against Women's Act, and MMIP, which is Missing and Murdered Indigenous Peoples. We hope you enjoyed the webinar part, or I should say the screening part, and immediately following, feel free to type in any questions or comments in the chat box on the YouTube, and we'll respond verbally, but we need you to type in the chat box questions and comments. Thank you. Enjoy. Oh, no.
Hi, my name is Dawn Kirk Alexander. I'm a documentary filmmaker, have been for almost 20 years now, and I'm currently working on a film entitled Journey of the Violence Against Women's Act, commonly known as VAWA, and Missing and Murdered Indigenous Peoples, primarily women. We also have a fiscal sponsor, Southern California Ceasefire. As you can tell by the title, they are focused on stopping gun violence, especially gang gun violence. The importance of this film is the fact that women all across this country are abused, sexually assaulted, trafficked every day, but primarily Native women. So we're going to focus on them, what they're going through, in hopes of waking up everybody to the situation in total. I'm going to introduce the trailer now, and then we'll talk more.
It was 2019 when the Attorney General Barr came up to Alaska, and he did a visit in the villages. And shortly after visiting a couple different villages, he declared a law enforcement emergency with what he saw with the crimes, such as domestic violence and the sexual assault. In addition, $10 million was given to the state of Alaska to help combat some of the issues in the villages after Attorney General Barr's visit. I do not know where that money went.
We used to do a thing we called rat patrol. We would go down the streets of Anchorage, mainly 4th Avenue at the time, because the street was lined with bars. The indigenous people would go down there and they would have a little bit too much, or they would get drugged, and the next thing you know, bad things happened to them by the bad people that are there. And a lot of them were murdered and raped. And even to this day, after a winter, they find dead women in the snowbanks and various places when the spring thaw comes.
In Alaska, actually, the trafficking is a lot more prominent than what people think. We have quite a large population of young Native girls and boys that leave their villages and head to Anchorage or Fairbanks or other areas of that nature, and they're kind of almost pre-groomed.
I grew up around family with my older cousin. She wasn't the best influence. Everyone told me that, and I just kind of brushed it off because I loved hanging out with her. With her, growing up, I used to look up to her, and she was supposed to see the sky, and she didn't want to see him anymore, and he wouldn't go away. And he raped me. I was 12. I didn't really know much about it.
In 1992, I was shot by my abusive husband, and I had no federal protections to turn to. The resources and coordinated community responses we now rely on did not exist at that time. I often wonder how different things could have been for me and for my son had VAWA been in place at that time.
It wasn't too long ago that we as a country didn't want to talk about violence against women as a national epidemic, let alone do something the government had to address. Society often looked away, and so many places violence against women wasn't a crime. It was referred to as a family affair. The Violence Against Women Act is my proudest legislative accomplishment in all the years I've served as Senator, Vice President, and President.
I hope you found that interesting. I would like to say enjoyable, but this subject is not necessarily one that you can enjoy. It's just something that we need to be well aware of and hopefully do something about. So now I'll go ahead and show you our pitch deck so you can see the story, the framework behind this documentary. As you see, we have a log line and we have our narrator, the well-known actress and award-winning actress, Frances Fisher. Then we have a picture of Obama when he reauthorized the Violence Against Women's Act. This is a picture of him with Tilly Blackberry. You'll see her further in. You can click on watch the trailer and give it a look again or show it to someone that you'd like to share it with. Now we have a timeline, as I said, because it's the journey. Our journey starts in 1970, and we have Tilly Blackberry here with her daughter Connie, and she was referred to as the grandmother of the Violence Against Women's Act. So her story and her continued involvement until the day she died fighting for this. Her daughter tells her side of the story. This is 1979 through 1990 when we meet the women that wore the blue dress. As you see, we have Lisa Marie Alcott here. She wore the blue dress when she met President Barack Obama. Then we have family stories. We have the Department of Justice in 1990 when then Senator Biden stood up and advocated for the Violence Against Women's Act. And that started his journey with it. He continued on for over 30 years fighting for this. Then we have bipartisan support showing here and several Congresses that signed the bill. President Clinton, when he signed the bill in 1994. We also have Donna. She's the police chief in Tickaloon, Alaska. Then we have 2007 when the Violence Against Women's Act went to the United Nations, the NIWRC. They're currently still fighting for the Violence Against Women's Act and just sexual violence against women, period. Then we have the UN declaration that came from that. In 2010, President Obama announced the United States support for the UN Declaration of Rights of Indigenous People. We also have a story of Jessica Lehan, and you'll see her story in the documentary because she speaks to United Nations and the United States, and she sued the United States for international human rights violations. We have several people from Congress that we speak to. This is Representative Gwen Moore, who stood up and led marches about VAWA and what it meant to women, and the fact that it was, again, up for reauthorization and facing a headwind. In 2013, we have Terry Henry. She was a tribal councilwoman that spoke to another senator about Indian domestic violence. We have several tribes we speak to, and this is just one of them. And we have Christina Balakat. She's an RN for a sexual assault response team in Alaska that takes care of women and children that come in due to domestic violence in their families. We have several people that speak on the jurisdiction of over Indian tribes, and again, when President Obama reauthorized the bill. We have several people speaking on victim awareness in 2017. 2018, the Violence Against Women Act expired again. Tribal sovereignty, we speak on that in 2022, and that's when President Biden was put in office and able to reauthorize the Violence Against Women's Act in the Omnibus bill that passed. We show some of the interviews that we have with congressional people. Secretary of the Interior, Deborah Haaland, she's one of the people we spoke to, and first Native American women to be on the presidential cabinet. This is Grandma Lou, she was my great grandmother. She was half Cherokee and half Black. She witnessed this in her lifetime. She witnessed the sexual violence, the domestic violence, and you'll hear more about her story in the documentary. Here's our bios, myself, and our director, David Massey. He's been in the business for over 30 years, Academy Award nominated filmmaker, talented. This is the QR code. So if you're interested in donating and contributing to the production of this film, everything is appreciated. This QR code will take you to the website for, again, our fiscal sponsor, Ceasefire. Whatever you like, we say thank you in advance. The Violence Against Women's Act is up again for reauthorization, late 26, early 27. Please keep this in mind. Please, I know we have a lot of things we have to speak up on nowadays to protect people, but women are the first people. Nobody comes here without a woman. We have to do something about this. So 2026, 2027, speak out, speak up. Thank you. Hi.
One, two, three.
Test. 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Hello. Again, if you have any questions or comments, please put them in the chat. We'd appreciate it, as we'd like to talk to you about Ceasefire. Taco, also known as Ben Owens, is on with us. So we mentioned it in the conversation that Ceasefire, Southern California Ceasefire, is our fiscal sponsor, and that's Ben Owens / Taco. So again, if you have any questions regarding that, he's here to respond to.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Yes, this is Taco here with the Southern California Ceasefire, and Violence Against Women's Act is definitely something within the wheelhouse of Ceasefire. It's absolutely what we champion this work for, is violence against women, violence against women in our community. And we would love to hear some feedback, or if there's any potential support that we can help get this film going.
As you see, we have a trailer, so we've begun production, but we have to stop and raise more money. That's often the case when it comes to independent filmmakers. So if you can contribute any kind of amount, that would be really appreciated.
Anything in the chat?
Comments, questions? We look forward to hearing from you. You can, as I mentioned it in the film or the screening, you can go to socalceasefire.com, and there was also a link at the very last, where it should say a QR code at the very last. What I can do is I think I can put the QR code in the chat. Let me see if I can do
Is
that.
there also a phone number or email address, Dawn, that they could tap into?
Yes, feel free to email me if you'd like at dawncarin@outlook.com. Or feel free to call me, 818-430-8440. I'm going to see if I can't put the QR code in the chat. Okay, thank you, dear. Okay, I'm trying to put the QR code in the chat, and is it going to let me do it?
All right. Any more questions?
I was trying to put the QR code in there, Taco, but it's not letting me do it.
Okay.
I'll put the link to the ceasefire.
Yeah, SoCalCeasefire.org.
Yes, we'll put that there. Okay, I've also put SoCalCeasefire.org, which is the website that you can go to and donate on the donate page if you'd like.
Okay. Also, Don, is it okay to ask if there's anyone else who's interested in hosting this webinar where they can invite viewers to see what they saw today and get the same information? Is that also available?
Yes, please do. And feel free, if you know of someone that's interested in this subject matter, give them my email or phone number if they'd like to speak with me. Again, SoCalCeasefire.org is the website where you'll find the donate page. And the link is in there also. So someone said they'd like to view it again. Just go to that journey, www.journeyviolenceagainstwomen.mmip.com. That's our website. So you can see the whole thing again. When will the documentary be out? Hopefully, production ends by the end of the year and we can get it out February, March next year. We will have a premiere though prior to that, once we get it done. So all of you all will be invited to that. Any more questions or comments?
Anything in the chat?
Not again, no. No more comments.
Oh,
Okay. Oh, Maria, regarding your question, by supporting films like this so we can make people aware, but I'm also available to do one-on-ones with people, or if you want to throw a party or something or reception and we could, discuss it with people, then open to all kinds of options to get the message out and hopefully do some kind of meaningful action after that. As I said in the end of the screening, I know a lot of things are going on now, so this may not get the attention it should. And again, keyword should, because people are dying. But we can only just keep on doing what we do and get the word out. Appreciate anything you do. Feel free to send the website to anybody you'd like.
hmm.
Friday afternoon, what can we say?
Right. Well, thank you for the viewers that did show up. It means a lot to us, and I'm certain you're going to pass along the information. And this isn't our last webinar. We'll continue to do it. But again, thank you for your support and your participation.
Well, let me answer. Maria had another question. Why is the crisis of MMIP particularly severe on tribal lands and in Alaska Native villages? I can particularly speak to Alaska, because in the tribal lands in Alaska, the communication is really bad as far as if a woman needs to get help, or woman, child, family, whoever may need to get help, and they call 911. First thing they have to do, 911 has to do, is find where they are on the map, especially in the tribal villages. Once they find where they are, the only way to get to them is via snowmobile, air, or water. That could take up to 3 or 4 days, depending upon where they are. So by the time they get there, the person may already be dead or severely injured, or as I say sometimes, the body could be buried by that time. So it is really bad in the tribal lands, not just Alaska, but the tribal lands in New Mexico, or just, it's just really severe in Alaska because it's hard to find the people. But still, it's often non-native people that commit these crimes, and so the people that are hesitant to go on the tribal lands and figure out, okay, who did it, and then they go back off tribal lands. I'm talking about the authorities, and try to find the person. It's really hard. So we just need to get more support for these people. As a matter of fact, this is demonstrated in the film also. Go ahead with what you were saying, Taco. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, no. I was just thanking everyone for showing up, and um, thank you for the support and participation, the questions and comments. And just look forward to us having another webinar until we can continue to get to the amount of support that we need to produce this film.
Have a great weekend.